The Hill Country Chapter Red Cross. It's December 1917, and World War I is ravaging the world. The United States recently entered the war, and millions are dying across Europe and Asia, with tragedies and loss consuming the Allied forces away and at home. It was up to civilians to come together for the betterment of humanity. Thus, the Red Cross was born. Clara Barton, being the founder of the Red Cross, received their first congressional charter in 1900. The Red Cross itself had expanded immensely during the First World War and the years leading up to it. Acting as a humanitarian effort force, they supported the war and surpassed many and all expectations.
With the onset of World War I, the American Red Cross mobilized millions of volunteers to meet the needs of the American and Allied forces. Within weeks of the war's outbreak, the Red Cross traveled on the Mercy ship to Europe, carrying 170 surgeons and nurses. When the U.S. entered the war, the American Red Cross did as well, with supplies, recreational activities, and other aid. Canteen service for troops in transit, the production corps to make garments, surgical dressings, comfort kits, and other supplies.
The Red Cross maintained a presence in most aspects of life during the war. Members composed mainly of nurses at local hospitals and community leaders preparing those for leaving for war. Through this cultural integration, the chapter gained attention and support by some iconic figures. The first of these individuals was Louis Albert Schreiner II. He had been a member since the preliminary meetings in Kerrville, Texas. Frequently, him and his wife hosted the meetings inside their home. Louis Schreiner worked to optimize lands that he owned and the land surrounding him. Schreiner remained a prominent member of the Red Cross for many years. This included during the start of the Great Depression. During this time, he utilized his $6 million in land and capital to persuade local farmers and ranchers to not abandon their land. To better do so, he and the rest of the Red Cross chapter helped support these individuals most hurt by the Great Depression. Other notable names include Howard Butt, the manager of a newly successful family store in the early 1900s. You may have heard of this family store, as it goes by now, H-E-B. The business has continued to fuel the chapter's disaster relief efforts and assist in satisfying training for nearly 100 years.
I used to get awful worried about all the troubles, but my mommy told me about some people who help the American Red Cross.
Acts of courage and compassion continued throughout the Depression as Americans donated their time, talents, and money to the Red Cross. In 1941, the Red Cross began a blood donor service for the U.S. military. The first request was for 20,000 units of plasma.
The nurses that are members of the Red Cross could use the newly opened sanatorium in Kerrville, Texas, opened by Dr. Sam E. Thompson. This sanatorium was opened in 1917. Considering many of the Red Cross chapters had established veteran hospitals, the newly opened sanatorium would serve as an excellent location to aid veterans. The Red Cross continued to support the sanatorium as it grew and became recognized by the state of Texas. It was later acquired by the state and funded as a mental health hospital. The story of this hospital and the Red Cross's influence with it doesn't end there. Today, you may know this hospital as the Kerrville State Hospital, the Red Cross being its primary donor of blood, and they continue to work very closely to aid anyone with mental health issues, whether they be from the public or veterans. The Hill Country Chapter Red Cross has placed itself as a symbol of hope to all those suffering. In the past decade, they have aided hundreds of individual families affected by natural disasters and provided training and certification for public health and safety.
The organization increased our focus on young people by creating innovative youth volunteer programs. Later, the Red Cross helped pioneer yet another health and safety program for Americans, nationwide training in cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR, the most effective way to revive persons suffering cardiac arrest. Red Cross disaster relief has continued to be mission critical. When the terrorist events of September 11, 2001 occurred, the Red Cross responded on a scale never before experienced by either the organization's workers or those they served. Yet far outnumbering man-made disasters are the large-scale natural disasters Red Cross has responded to in recent years, such as hurricanes, earthquakes, flooding, and tornadoes. In the 21st century, the American Red Cross continues to respond to the emerging needs of those it serves. It has become a leader in partnering with and mobilizing communities to help people prepare for and respond to life-threatening emergencies. It has mandated a goal of total diversity throughout the entire organization, fulfilling its commitment to reflect the nation as a whole. And it continues to initiate new and innovative programs and services. The story of the American Red Cross continues to unfold. It is about partnerships, generosity, endurance, courage, compassion, and caring. Essentially, a story of the human heart. The story is told by those who have served and continue to serve, decade after decade, preventing and alleviating human suffering wherever it occurs.
And to this, happy 100th birthday to the Hill Country Chapter Red Cross.